Yo, what's going on? You're listening to Stephen Retention on the drive home, the Sunday twilight session on the drive home here in Victoria, Melbourne, Australia. Driving home after a solid weekend of being on my purpose. Now, I'm sure you all have heard a lot of semen retainer commentators talk about how your purpose is more defined on semen retention. You start to align yourself. It's like you've got this magnetic kind of thing about you when you're on semen retention that pulls you onto the pathway of your purpose. And my purpose is to be a musician. And I know a lot of you guys know that I'm a musician, but I want to tell you something. Semen retention combined with being a musician or an outwardly performative kind of person, like an artist or whatever, man, it's next level. And the reason why it is so intense is because what you're doing in life right now, when you're retaining your seed and you're doing something artistic, you're actually breaking the matrix in every single way. To be an artist that isn't sold out, that is like, that is expressing themselves and changing the frequency and lifting the vibes up with people and all that kind of stuff, it's a real talent to have. And not only that, it's kind of necessary in today's age. And the outcome of this is you end up being, I guess you could say, not only a glitch in the matrix, but you're a celebrity now. In fact, your vibration is the celebrity. It's not even your name. The ego, the body that you live in, isn't the celebrity. People don't look at you and think, oh, it's that guy. No. People feel your energy, and they feel that energy, and they see what you're doing and your composure and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, whoa, we've got someone or something or some kind of presence here that is powerful. And this power that people feel, at first it can be exciting, because when you're on semen retention, it becomes a thing where it's like, oh, this is kind of fun, like people are giving me appreciation, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side of the coin, there is what I would call the paparazzi effect of semen retention. Now, I'm not going to say the word of which I think YouTube might block, because the paparazzi, I could say, it's a code word for something else. Think about people that, stalk you in groups or in gangs, and then combine those two words together. The stalking within gangs, yeah? Flip them other way around, right? So that is occurring 100 times more when you're on semen retention. And let me tell you something. We've got all these people out there doing weird stuff. Trust me, man. I reckon the effect that we're having on other people's lives on a daily occurrence by just bringing this positive energy and changing people's lives, the powers that be that are running these programs, they are sending out their scouts. They're sending out the scouts, the dogs running through the field trying to intercept us and take information. And 2 days in a row, this is crazy, guys. This is crazy. 2 days in a row, I've had different people film me, but not when I was performing. Actually, the second one was when I was performing, okay? The first one, I was packing up my gear at my gig, And this guy was just straight out, just like filming me, looking real sus. And the reason why he looked so sus is because he didn't look like a guy that was filming me with the intention of, you know, I was doing something funny or something out there. It was like he was just documenting my presence being there. And I was just packing up my gear. I wasn't talking to anyone. I wasn't wearing any weird clothes. I wasn't doing anything crazy. But he took a lengthy video of me, and I just looked at him, and I could tell he was uncomfortable at one point, because when people do that kind of back of the head scratch kind of thing, that's a body language kind of sign of, like, you know, they're a little bit anxious. And so I noticed that. And then today, again, a person at my gig, I was performing a song, and they were just standing there filming me. They weren't vibing to the song, they didn't clap, they weren't singing, they weren't doing anything. They just stood there and filmed me. And then they like literally like walked off. They didn't stick around to the end of the song. No, they just filmed a little bit of the song and then they walked off. And I wanted the footage because I use that footage to go on my social media and promote what I do. Every single time I play a gig, I try and get content so then I can keep my algorithm boosted, right? And so I go on my break at my gig, and then as I'm going on my break, that girl that filmed me walks out of the toilet as I'm going on my break, moving out to go to my car, and she walks past me, and I'm like, hey, can I grab that footage? And she's like, like kind of does this body language kind of thing, like, oh, I don't understand, me no speak English, you know, like, you know, I'm just like, what? Like, she didn't say anything at all, and then she walked off, and I was like, hey, you filmed me, like, what's the go with that? And then she just like kind of ignored me and walked off. So I realize now that the paparazzi, let's call them that, the paparazzi are out now. In my previous video, I talked about how you're evolving too fast for the outside world to contain you. Like, it's your light, your frequency is becoming so bright and it's overloading with energy that it's like the cage that you were living in is starting to shake and things are starting to get a bit weird, right? And what I've noticed is that this might be a reaction. Like this paparazzi effect, maybe they're just like documenting what's going on. Because honestly, guys, if you listen to other semen retainer YouTubers that have been on long streaks, they've all had the paparazzi onto them. Again, guys, I want to reiterate, paparazzi is, I'm not talking about the photographers that, you know, stalk celebrities and then send them to magazines. I'm talking about like people that stalk normal human beings and they're part of a group. They're part of an organization that run these programs. So it is what it is. Be prepared for these times. It made me rethink about social media. And let me tell you something that I learned about Instagram recently. There is a website called Instagram, P for Peter, V for Virgo. It's called Instagram PV, right? And basically it means you can view people's stories on Instagram without your profile popping up in their stories. You know, when you view someone's story on Instagram and then the profile pops up on the story because it shows that that person viewed your story, there is now a website where people can log into it. They don't even log in. They don't even need to make an email or any sort of verification. And they can go onto your stories and view all your stories, know what you're up to, without even having shown their username account. And what I've been doing is I've been getting a lot of weird random kind of Instagram accounts that have like no profile picture, like 2 followers, 11 followers. And I'm not talking about those like, you know, those adult website kind of Instagram profiles that you get. I'm not talking about those spam accounts, right? I'm talking about like legit accounts that have like small following because they're like burner accounts. They're those kind of accounts that people are trying to stalk you on. And I always like, I deal with them in my own way. Sometimes I just let them watch my stories because I'm like, whatever. But now I can't even view who's viewing my stories because at the end of the day, people can use those websites and view your stories privately. So this made me think a whole lot differently about social media in general. I myself like social media because I like sharing my opinions and having discussions. But you know what, now? I'm just sticking to YouTube. I'm not worrying about Instagram or Facebook and any of that anymore. I will use Instagram to promote my music, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, when my songs are finished, that's when they're going to be promoted. I'm not going to be promoting anything that hasn't been finished because that gives people the ability to take my works. And that is another thing that's happened to me in the past, is people have like literally stolen my works. So I want you guys to know that Instagram and Facebook aren't what they are anymore. There's a lot of people out there that will be stalking you when you're on semen retention, when you're on this high vibration type of journey. I'm sorry for coughing into the mic. But yeah, basically, people are doing that and they're getting away with it without even like any trace. So be careful of what information you put out there. Even if your profile is private, I feel like there's ways that you can get around it. But I'm getting to a point now where I feel like I've got two musician brands. One brand is my job kind of one, which is my like working musician brand. And then the other musician brand is a complete different moniker. It's called Mars in Leo. Mars, the planet in Leo, the constellation. Mars in Leo, and that is that's like my artist brand, right? So what I've realized is that I've just got to really stick to my brands, not give any sort of personal information, not even show people what I'm making for dinner anymore. It's not even that. I can't even share to people that I just went for a walk at the beach, because now I know that's like giving information to these programs that will send these people that will document me in these places. And trust me, man, it's only happened to me a few times this weekend, but I think it's been happening a lot longer than what I've been aware of. And I think they already have enough information to understand enough about me. But here's the thing that I want to say, is that get used to it. That's what I'm saying. Get used to it. Get used to being an anomaly. Get used to being something that is different and something that needs to be documented, because the fact of the matter is, like, we are less than 1% of the male population, which is already 50% of the world's population. So, like, if let's give it the benefit of the doubt, we're less than 0.5% being retainers, okay? Let's say we have, 2 billion people in the world. We only have 10,000 of us that exist. Sorry, 1 million of us. My bad. It's way off. And that's kind of concerning. And do you know why they're documenting us? Because the program and the system that they built around people being Kumas is threatened by it. I like how in Star Wars they have the analogy of how a Jedi Knight can destroy thousands of battle droids, and the Jedi Knight can also kill, hundreds of soldiers or clones or whatever. But obviously when a Jedi versus a Sith, which is like the dark version of a Jedi, that's where it's like real game on. That's like, that's like the real competition type shit. And what I've realized is that I went on the path of the Jedi. I went on the path of like righteousness. I went on the path of celibacy. I went on the path of truth, light, and all these things that I've benefited from in semen retention, like all these benefits that have come to me, they're allowing me to withstand the pressures and the new levels that I have to face as far as like, this NPC kind of program, like, situation. Like I look around at all these people in the world now, and I feel like half of them are like almost robots. Like they don't know what they're doing. They're these cyborgs that are like, everyone's got headphones plugged in. Every second person's got hearing aids. Every 1 in 20 people is now a diabetic. Now every 1 in 50 people is walking with a cane. Now, instead of 1 of every 10 people being obese, it's like 1 in 5 people is an absolute fat cunt. Like, what is going on with this world, bro? Now, every man is looking defeated and depleted whilst his girlfriend is walking around in yoga pants and looking all fit and juicy and done up. And like, he is looking like he's aging so much, and she's looking like a fucking snack, and she's, I don't know if she's got the Jezebel spirit or not, but like at the end of the day, something's off, bro. Something's completely off. And I'm just getting to the point now where I've talked to just a handful of people in the semen retention community about it, and I'm starting to realize that we're all seeing the same things transpire in front of us, and it's getting to a point now where I think like we have to remain vigilant on this journey, and we have to hold the fort. We have to hold everything that we're building in this online community. And they're going to try and target us. They're going to try and create, internal wars between semen retention channels and stuff. But as far as I'm aware, no one that I follow is starting to diss each other or anything like that. Yes, sometimes we leave comments where we're like critiquing maybe something that we said or what we do, or maybe something like that, but we're not starting wars. We're not trying to destroy people. We're not trying to like cut them out of the game or anything like that. It's all fair game, Anyway, so like, I guess just realize that all these pressures and all these, these drones and these inspectors and paparazzis and all that kind of stuff are going to come for you, man. I'm just telling you, you got to be accepting of that, because as soon as you start saying no to women and you start saying, you know what, I don't want to release because, this girl's got a chunky ass and I want to, release. No, like, you're not going to be, you don't do that anymore. You just say to yourself, you know what, I can imagine that would be fun, but the long-term consequences and the penalties of, depleting myself is not profitable. In fact, I won't even break even. It will set me back. So you know what? I'm going to reject this offer, and I'm going to move on with my life and go focus on my next project. So when you get tempted by women, you're like, you know what? Nah, you know what, I need to clean my house. Like, how funny is that? How funny is coming to the realization where, like, you would rather clean your dishes or meal prep or have a workout and a really nice long shower and vacuum your house and clean your house, or do some gardening, or, like, you know, light some candles and do a bit of a cleansing ritual in your house, than actually, you know, released and, like, bust a nut. Like, you'd rather amplify the serenity of your sanctuary, so that way you are constantly living and breathing inside a high vibrational environment. And because we know that, like, majority of the women that are trying to pull us off this path, if not all women, are they're not on this frequency anymore. Like, they used to be on this frequency when they were young, but women, usually from a young age of 12 through to like 14, 15 even, if they're late bloomers, so to speak. But women from the age of 12 to 16, and I won't call them women, I'll call them girls, females, whatever, they're already, you know, hunting boyfriends, they're already hunting, you know, that kind of energy, that lustful type of energy. And it's disgusting. It's straight up foul. It's filth. And guys, we're a little bit late to the game because we have puberty a little bit later, so it's usually from the age of 14 through to 19 or whatever, 18. That's when we start having those experiences. And again, it's disgusting, it's filth. So I guess, like, looking at all these things that are occurring, I think to myself, I was thinking to myself when I was driving my car today on my long drive, I was like, you know what? I can still create a child when I'm 42, right? When I'm 42, I can still create a child. I'm still going to be a relatively, I'm not going to be young. I'll be a youthful middle-aged man, right? But when I'm on retention for 12 years and I get to 42, I'm going to be like a freak. I'm going to be like a supernatural manifesting maestro that, like, is an absolute king in the music world. And I'm not talking about the music industry, I'm talking about the frequency of music. I was going to say the frequency of God, even. Like, if you think about it, like, think about, like, how someone made a point yesterday. I was watching a stream, and Isis Wisdom, she is a streamer. Check her out. She's on YouTube. ISIS Wisdom, Isis Wisdom. She made the point about how law is an energy. Law is a frequency. Because she's a lawyer, she said that law is a frequency, and when you understand how to, like, abide by that frequency, then the universe will tilt the scales of justice into your favor. Because if you were abiding by the law of the universe, then karma will always, you know, send you your dividend. Karma will always send you your paycheck, you know, your compensation. And that's what I feel about music as well, is that music is its own frequency, it's its own energy. And I feel like if I retain for 12 years, from the age of 30 to 42, I will have mastered, like, completely Yoda type level mastered music, because I'm already pretty fucking good right now. And, like, I I can't help but feel absolutely pumped and like amazed at the fact of the potential the potential fucking like, I don't know, exhilaration and energy and vibes that will come from that, like that 12 years of celibacy and of semen retention. Like going full brahmacharya and really diving into the meaning of music. Why did God create music is the real question. Because music is already, like, music is already a natural part of the world. And if you think about how, you know, animals and I guess like plants and the ocean and the wind and fire, like all the elements, they all have a song. Like the wind has a song. Birds have a song, you know? Even oceans have a song. Water has a song. Fire has a song. Humans have a song. And humans have evolved so much to get to the point where we're like full of so many different songs. Because we've continued to expand our consciousness. And so what I want to try and get onto on my pursuit of music is to bridge humans' consciousness over to a new dimension of music, which breaks all the constructs of Western and equal-tempered chains, and also breaks Eastern microtonal, you know, constructs as well, and starts to become something primal, yet so advanced and alien-like. That's where I want to go. I want to make music that's like binaural beats mixed with like affirmations, mixed with like a spoken word story, mixed with like serendipity. You know what I mean? Like improvisation. Out of the blue touches of genius that I didn't script, I didn't write. It was just God flowing through me. Because being on semen retention and being a musician, you're like a conduit where God can just pour this electromagnetic kind of like waterfall that's golden and a rainbow at the same time that just permeates through your aura. And it's where all your genius and it's where all your good ideas come from in the moment, the real moment, the I am moment. That's what I want to get into. That's the kind of shit that I want to make. And it's not shit. I'm not even going to use the word shit. It is the shit, that's for sure, but it's not shit. So yeah, this video is a bit of a long one today, but you know, I'm having a bit of a drive home and I just felt like checking in on you guys and giving you guys another video. Thank you for watching my recent streams and obviously yesterday's video. If you haven't checked it out, it's a good one. It's a very good one. I'm talking about how our energy, when we evolve on semen retention, it becomes too big for the world that we already constructed. Like imagine you're making a house for a baby, and you build a house, and by the time you finish building the house for the baby's already grown up into an adult. And then it's like, oh shit, that took me way too long to do that. When really what you should have been doing is that you should have been making a house for like a family. You should have been building a family house, because even if the adult doesn't have kids, the adult can spread out and its aura can grow, the wings can grow. Think about plants. we're the same when we're on semen retention. Our plants keep on growing, but if we're stuffed among NPCs and if we're in these environments that are just like, you know, like there's no energy to fuel us, like, well, we're not going to grow. There will be no growth. So I urge you guys, and I'll finish on this note, I urge you guys to prune every single couple of weeks, every single month. Prune your garden, prune your family, your friends, prune your home environment, prune your decorations, prune your plants, prune the videos that you have, or the games that you have, prune the old, you know, technologies you still got. Get rid of everything. Get rid of those mates that, you know, call you up and take about 5 hours out of your week because they want to have these lengthy chats where they're just like pouring their guts onto you, like not giving you any sort of gem or wisdom. It's like, nah, fuck them, dude. Like, they can catch up with you for a coffee once a month or once every 2 months, but don't waste your time with these pricks. Don't waste your time with these losers. The only reason why all these people want to hang out with you and coincidentally, you know, want to catch up with you is because they're tapped into the same program that is sending out scouts that are trying to create situations in your life that they can document and therefore send back to show you that you are falling off your path. So just be careful with all these people in your life because they're not who you might think they are, which is quite scary if you really think about it. But do not be scared, just retain. And the reason why retaining is enough is that retention will give you the confidence, it will give you the connection to God. And we're talking about that frequency of law. You know, if you tap into that frequency of law and karma, you will always be protected. The scales of justice will always tilt towards the retainer. That was actually one of my first ever Stephen retention videos. So on that note, I hope you all have a fantastic week ahead. I hope you all hold on to your streaks. You know, it's funny, I see some of you guys getting tempted and, you know, people are literally throwing themselves at you and stuff. And I can't help but laugh because I'm in the same situation. It's happened to me. And we're all going through the same stuff, and that's why I love this community. So guys, get around your other YouTube semen retainer communities this Christmas. Send them a thanks, you know, drop a $2 coin in their little piggy bank for Christmas. Just show appreciation, because honestly guys, this is going to be one of the most powerful communities or like collectives that ever has existed in the modern age, the semen retention community. I just saw quadruple 3 cross across my screen. That is a huge sign and another synchronicity, because I just saw quadruple 3 about an hour ago when I started driving my car, okay? So the point is that this Christmas, stay safe, and of course, say thank you to your inspiration. Show your appreciation to the real ones. The real ones aren't necessarily in your family, right? The real ones are on your frequency. You might not be having Christmas lunch and dinner. You might not be singing, you know, like Last Christmas by Wham with your retainer fam, you know, whilst you're digging into your parasite-infested Christmas ham. Because you realize this is all just a sham. Anyway, I'm going to turn off this cam. Catch ya.